right, Joshua, we're going to practice some decoding or syllabication here we have 6 words today to help us review prefixes and suffixes we've learned before, and to also help us review the new Latin base that we learned this week. Do you remember what
Latin?
Yeah, do you remember what the base was?
Pond.
Pond is a variation. Pens, and like pen, like a pendant, right? Penned, pens, pond. Those are all variations. You remember what it means?
To hang or weigh.
To hang or weigh. Okay, so let's look at number 1 here. Do you remember how to color code prefixes are what color?
Prefixes are the pink.
Okay. We mostly have Latin here, so what do we highlight Latin bases with?
Oh, purple, right.
And what about suffixes?
Huh?
What do we highlight suffixes with?
Sky blue.
Yes. Okay, so let's look at our first word here. You can work left to right. What do you see first? Sus. Okay, that's a prefix, right? So what should you underline that with?
Oh yeah, okay. In my brain I thought those were
Okay, so sus. Okay, what does sus mean? It's a variation of sub.
So below.
Below, under. Okay, what other word part or morpheme do you see?
Tend.
And pend means?
To hang or.
Okay, so suspend would mean, what would it mean literally?
To hang below.
Or hang under. But usually, and that could be we're suspending something, like we suspended.
Suspenders.
Right, we suspended our light fixture from the ceiling. But also it can mean like if you suspend something, like if I suspend the printing on our printer, that stops it, right? It hangs it up right there. Okay. Okay, next word. Did you lose the lid?
Yeah.
Okay, just pick it up. It's okay. Okay, what do we have first? Let's work through our word. What do you see? What morpheme?
This.
And that's what type of morpheme? Prefix, suffix, base word.
Prefix.
Okay, so what should we underline it with or highlight it with?
Pink.
Okay, and dis means?
Bad or wrong?
That's miss. Miss means bad or wrong.
I forget.
So our gesture for that was like we're disarming a machine, an alarm. So
turn off.
Not opposite or apart. Dis means not opposite or apart. What word part do you see next, or morpheme do you see next?
Pens.
Good. And it is a Latin base. Good. And what does that Latin base mean?
To hang or.
To hang or
weigh.
Good. And that Latin base is? Can you read it?
Pens.
Pens. Okay. What do you see last?
Er. One who or that which.
One who or that which. Let's put it all together.
Hangs or weighs.
So the one who or that which hangs away. Okay, so usually a dispenser is giving something out, right? Like our picture that we used for one of our objects was like a ketchup and mustard dispenser. It's dispensing that away. And a napkin dispenser is dispensing napkins away. Okay, let's get our next word here. Work your way through the word. Tell me what your first morpheme is.
D.
Do you remember what D means?
Let me see.
It's okay.
Down or away.
Very good. Down or away from. Okay, what's our next morpheme?
Penned.
Penned. Right. It is a Latin base. That means
To hang away.
to hang or weigh. We have one more morpheme. What do you see?
Ed.
Ed. And what does ed suffix mean?
Already
Okay. So working from our right to left, what does this word mean?
suspend. Oh no. Depended.
Depended. What's it mean?
Already happened. Hang.
Hang or weigh.
Down or away from.
Okay. So if we depended on something or somebody, we already put our weight on them or it. We depended on this chair to hold us up. We could believe in it. We could put our weight on it. Okay, you depended on your parents to pick you up from church, and we did that. You could put your weight on that.
Yeah, but we all went to church.
Okay, so I'm just trying to give an example. Okay, depended. You can put your weight on something. You can count on it. Okay, next word. So what prefix do you have?
Sus.
Okay. What do you have next?
Penned.
Penned.
Ers.
Okay, so hold on. Is ers a suffix?
No. So.
Good. You have two suffixes there, right?
Mhm.
That are adding meaning here to our word.
Suspenders.
Suspenders. Okay, so what's the S on the end mean?
More than one.
More than one. What does ER mean?
One who wear that which.
Okay.
Hang away. Below.
Or under. So suspenders, what is their function? If you wear suspenders, what's it holding under?
Your pants.
Your pants, right? It's holding your pants up. All right, next word.
Yeah, but that's not.
No, what?
That word isn't specifically for that thing. There's multiple things called suspenders.
Oh, yeah, right, it's not always just for clothing, but suspenders are usually holding up or hanging up onto something, right? Something's hanging underneath. Okay, next word. That's a suffix. This is a suffix color. You don't have a suffix, babe. Are you confused by the E on the end?
I figured that out.
Okay. So we'll talk about that. So what's your prefix?
EX.
It says. What's your next morpheme? Pence. And it means?
To hang or way.
Okay. So pence.
It means to hang away.
And what does X mean? Do you remember?
I forgot.
So it means out or away. So to hang or weigh away. And usually something that comes at an expense usually has money tied to it, right? A great expense, a great cost. It weighs heavy on you financially.
I wrote pence with the blue.
Oh, oops. That's okay. But you know it is.
Lavender for Latin.
Yes. All right. Last word.
Ponder. Or pond.
Pond is your. What is it?
Latin.
Latin. And what do you have?
ER.
ER. Sky blue suffix. And then you have another suffix. What is it?
ER and ING.
Okay.
Currently happening. One without which hangs.
Okay, when we talk about pondering, what's weighing or hanging? Our mind, our thoughts, right? So what's the whole word together?
Pondering.
Okay, let's read through those words once.
Suspend. Or suspend.
Suspend.
Dispenser. Depended. Suspenders. Expense. Ponder.
What's the last one?
Pondering.
Couldn't hear you very well. Okay. So we're going to do a little bit more. We've been talking about word meaning here as it regards our word parts, our morphemes, morphemic analysis, but we're also going to talk about some more vocabulary. We're going to continue to talk about words that can have multiple meanings. We talked about homonyms. So I have a little anchor chart here for us because we're going to talk about a third category of words that have multiple meanings. We talked about homonyms first. These are words that have the same spelling, the same pronunciation, but they have different meanings. Like an example of that was a bat, like the baseball bat or the mammal bat, right, that can fly and uses echolocation.
I forgot those guys were.
So those are homonyms because they're spelled the same, they sound the same, but they have different meanings. Okay. Then last week we talked about homophones. Homophones have different spellings, but they are pronounced the same and they have different meaning.
Like two and two and two.
Right. Like the number two, or
T-O-O.
meaning also
T-O.
regarding location, right? So those are homophones. There's a third category of words that can have multiple meanings that can sometimes make it tricky for us to understand. And they're called homographs. You mean graph or gram means like to write or draw. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So these are words that have the same spelling. Okay, they're spelled the same, they're pronounced differently, and they have a different meaning. And our anchor chart gives the example of the word refuse or refuse, or content and content. So let's talk about, I have some pictures to help explain the meanings of those words. But do those words look exactly the same?
Wait.
And these
Yes.
top two.
Yes, okay.
They're spelled exactly the same. So do you see the picture of the little girl? She's going to refuse to eat her vegetables. Okay?
It looks
So-
like mashed potatoes to me.
Okay. She's going to refuse to eat her mashed potatoes. Okay? This looks exactly the same, but it's pronounced refuse. Put your refuse in the waste basket.
He's not recycling that paper.
So refuse is trash, it's garbage. We have to pick the refuge up off the street. Okay, spelled exactly the same, not pronounced the same, and has different meanings. So our other example in our anchor chart, and we're going to have a couple more, is content. See, the little boy and the puppy are content. They're happy, they're pleased. Okay?
Content.
Or content being like
the content of the book.
right, the subject matter of a book or a class. Okay.
Is that a college class?
So content and content are spelled exactly the same, okay? But they're pronounced differently and they have different meanings. Often it has to do with where we put the emphasis or stress of our word. Content, the emphasis is on the first part, the first syllable. Content, it's on the second syllable, okay? Not always, but often, okay, when we're talking about where we put the stress or accent. Content, that's a verb. When we put that accent on our second syllable, content, we're talking about a noun, it's a thing. Okay, to be content is part of an action, correct? Okay. Refuse, refuse. Doesn't always work exactly like that, but the way that they're pronounced is different. They're spelled the same and they have different meaning. Okay, so here we have words, two words that look exactly the same. Okay, we have lead, like the metal. Lead.
Oh, I was expecting it to be lead, like a little leash.
Right. And so in this one, it's lead. Do you see how he's leading the horse? He's got the lead on the horse. So lead, like the metal, or like what we have in our pencil. Well, that's mostly graphite now, isn't it? Graphite and pencils now. Lead, like the metal, and lead.
They have lead in mechanical pencils.
Okay. And then lead, like we're leading a line, he's leading a horse. It's also, we often will call, like what he's using, a lead, kind of like a leash, right? Okay, so another example, here we have
A bow.
like you might put on a gift, or a bow tie, and then what would we have in this picture?
Bow.
So those words are spelled exactly the same, but they're...
Or like a shooting bow.
Right, like a bow and arrow. Yeah, I didn't give an example of a picture of that one, but you're right. So those words are spelled exactly the same. They're pronounced differently, and they have different meaning. So those are called homonyms. So we're going to have a little bit more practice with that. I'm going to give you the opportunity to write a couple of sentences, and I've given us some more what we consider homographs for you to choose to write a sentence with. You're going to try to use it in the same sentence. So they give an example. The sewer was upset when the sewer overflowed and ruined all of her materials. Do you see how sewer and sewer look exactly the same? But they're pronounced differently and they have different meaning. Okay, so with these particular kinds of words, these homographs, we have to rely on context a little bit, right? To know how to pronounce them. Does that make sense, Joshua?
Huh? Sorry.
We have to use the context of a sentence to help us know and understand how to articulate. So here I have to say the sewer was upset, not the sewer was upset. I have to use the context of the sentence. So we have some more examples here. We have dove or dove. Okay, they're both spelled exactly the same, have different meaning. Bass.
Or base. Object or object.
Good.
Dessert or desert.
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 Or desert. Not like what we have after dinner, like not a like
someone deserting.
Right. Right, or the noun, the place, desert.
Present. Present.
Or
present.
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 Present. I'm going to give you a gift.
I am present in the class.
Or I'm going to present an award to you.
Close.
Close or close?
Close or close?
Like I'm close to you, or I'm going to close the door.
Tear.
Mm-hmm.
Tear.
Right, tear or tear.
Wind.
Mm-hmm.
Wind.
Good.
Produce.
Produce, like I'm going to pick up some vegetables and produce, or I'm going to produce a new movie.
Those are, they don't sound different.
Produce, produce.
What?
Sometimes it's just the emphasis or accent on another syllable. So you're going to choose 3 of these and write 3 sentences. Which one would you like to start with?
I dove into the water with my dove.
Okay. What's a dove?
Bird.
Okay, just want to make sure you understood that. So you said I dove into
water.
Mm-hmm. With the dove. Okay, do you have punctuation at the end of that sentence? Always check for cups. Go ahead and double check. Okay. Making sure those T's are lowercase. Okay, all right. Next, homographs. Okay, so what word are you focusing on?
I played the bass
Mm-hmm.
while
Okay, watch your words. They're starting to get way up there in the sky.
I played the bass while
The bass while, or the bass while.
the bass while
Bass fishing? Eating bass? Hey, be kind.
Is there another pencil?
I'm only seeing pens that are sharpened. That one will do well enough for the next sentence. Did you put some punctuation at the end? So what kind of bass are you talking about? I played the bass. Bass guitar?
Yeah.
Okay. So I played the bass while eating bass. Okay, last sentence. Pick one more set. Do you want to switch to a pen?
No.
I don't know what happens to all of our sharpened pencils.
I think they're all over there on Brennan's desk.
Why don't you plan out your sentence aloud before you write it? What word?
I closed my shop close to the deadline.
Okay, well, let's keep it without suffixes here. Okay, so they look like the exact same spelling. You know what I mean? So you could say, I am going to close my shop
That doesn't have.
I'm going to close my shop. What was the last part of your sentence? I'm going to close my shop close to the deadline. Is that what you said? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
I don't know. I can't think of any.
Okay. So I'm going to present you with a, what's the other form of that homograph?
Present. I am what?
I'm going to present present it's okay.
I'm going to
You with a present. Okay. Did you check for cups? Okay. So a homonym are words that are spelled the same, they're pronounced differently. Homographs, did I say homonyms? Homographs are words that are spelled the same, pronounced differently, and have different meanings. And it can often be just that the accent or stress is on a different syllable. Okay, so all of these will help us better understand what we're reading.
Desserts backwards is stressed.
Well, and desserts has a double S, where desert only has one S, right? Because desserts are doubly better than a desert. That's how I remember how to spell it.